Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, it's my channel, absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And it's a little bit of G.I. Joe Classified Series news for the G.I. Joe Classified Series fans that hang around these parts. There's been a couple of things going on over the last couple of days that I thought we'd dive into. Got a couple of leaks and an announcement of a new reveal coming down the pipeline, so let me share the info, give you a bit of commentary, and then we'll have a chat about it in the comments down below, shall we? Let's get into it. And we'll get started by talking about the leaks, which is a really interesting set of circumstances, because we've got two figures that we've seen in digital render, but we haven't seen in hand reveals, just turn up for sale on eBay with photos. The first of them was Force Zartan. Just there. I went and had a look. In fact, he was still on sale when I got up this morning and caught up on the news. So whoever it was who took these photos and posted the listing had like 10 Ninja Force Zartans to sell. And we literally got the digital render on G.I. Joe Day last Sunday, which is absolutely balmy, you know, really crazy. Well, one must assume that this is a, back door of the factory over in East Asia type of situation. Surely, they'll be shipping in from Singapore, Thailand, whatever. Where are they now? Vietnam, actually, now that I think about it. Anyway, but looking good, looking good. There's the figure in three-dimensional plastic form, and as we can see, pretty accurate, representation of what we saw on the digital render last Sunday. It's definitely increased my hype for Ninja Force Zartan, 100%. And then we got the artwork on the back there. There is photos of the sides of the box as well, but I didn't bother with those. I just wanted the digital render artwork off the bat. Nothing Easter eggy there to add to the list for an upcoming packaging Easter egg installment, but it does definitely look like he's in Japan at the Arashikage Temple Village place. The next listing was for the Cobra Royal Guard, the deluxe set. Again, we've only seen as digital render at this point. So once again, there we go. There's the there's the Royal Guard in 3D 6-inch plastic form, looking pretty good. That head sculpt is, creepy. I saw a lot of folks going, creepy. But lots of gear in here, and also quite pleased to see that the sort of bony color on these sort of organic bony armor sections and blades and whatnot doesn't look too bad. It still might yet come across as a little bit plasticky, but doesn't look too bad overall, which is nice to see. And then I just grabbed the back shot on the off chance that there was any Easter eggs or anything in there. Nothing too exciting, I don't think. I think that it's just a Cobra La action shot out in the Himalayas there, but looking good nonetheless. And again, when I checked this morning, once I caught up on the news, these were there up on eBay. Although the prices were inflated, I should point that out. So if you're thinking about going and following up, although by the time I've recorded this and posted this, they're probably going to be sold out. But if you were thinking about taking that route, you'd be paying an inflated price. Certainly not a price I was willing to pay by the time the shipping was slapped on top. So yeah, but what that would imply is if we're seeing like factory finished in packaging, to the point where someone can sell a little bulk batch of them on eBay, these surely can't be very far away in terms of full reveal, pre-order and delivery. They surely can't be that far away. And then, kind of continuing the thought, if Ninja Force Zartan is turning up, then the rest of the wave that we saw the digital renders for might not be all that far away either. So what was that? That was Airtight, the Hydro Viper, Overkill, and the yet to be announced character. So who knows? We could be looking at some stuff coming down the pipeline pretty quick. But the last wave that was overhanging from last year with Big Lob and Lifeline and so on and so forth are just about to start shipping. Mine have landed already with the importer I use over here in the UK. So mine are here already in hand. So to get some stuff sorted out now for a March-April drop, probably not out of the realms of possibility. Certainly what you can potentially expect is at the New York Toy Fair, the kind of cabinet reveals or the toy breakfast, the Hasbro Action Brand breakfast thing that they do with the influencers and the other industry folks will have these potentially on display. Well, they're probably going to have to now because we've all seen these. They were everywhere. As soon as I logged on this morning, Facebook, Instagram, X, everywhere I go, Discord, you name it, these were everywhere. So yeah, interesting, exciting news for sure, and nice to see them coming to life in the full 6-inch plastic form. The other bit of news that was knocking around was that Midtown Comics in Times Square on Old Manhattan Island there, New York City, they're having a signing event with Larry Hama, who's going to be signing issue 325 of the new Image Comics continuation of A Real American Hero. Now, Image are making a big fuss about this issue. I've seen the kind of promo stuff going on because Larry's, Mr. Hammer is introducing 2 new G.I. Joe characters into the line called Downrange and RC. Downrange being a sniper, and RC, if I remember, for the article I read, was like a drone technology specialist type person, which would make sense from the images of them on the cover of the upcoming issue. So that is what it is. That's all fine and dandy. Comic book writer does comic book signing at comic book shop. Not ground shaking information. However, in the promotional material, if I just sort of see along the bottom there, it says, and a G.I. Joe classified series reveal going to be taking place at Midtown Comics at this event. And also it says that they're going to be streaming the event on their Whatnot channel, which is an auction bidding site type thing. I've actually used Whatnot to buy some comics, funnily enough. So interesting development there. A very interesting marketing channel to put the reveal out on through a comic book signing event. It seems quite small and contained in some ways compared to, say, a convention event or a toy fair, or a live stream where the kind of the dissemination across the audience is larger. There's a bigger kind of set of eyeballs. That said, they are streaming it on Whatnot, and they're possibly less concerned about that because in this day and age, it just takes one person to take a photo and pop it on Instagram. And it's everywhere within an hour, so maybe they're less concerned. The fact that it's at a Larry Hama signing seems to be the significant aspect, because, of course, he's the big man, Larry Hama. It does make me wonder who the figure is, what the figure is that they're going to be revealing. The fact that it's at a signing event, at what they've been calling a milestone issue with there's introducing 2 new G.I. Joe members, and they've been making a fuss about it, does lead the imagination to hope that maybe this is the first comic book to G.I. Joe classified proper kind of cross-promotional event. It does make one wonder whether Larry's going to be rocking up there signing books and bringing along a G.I. Joe classified series version of RC or Downrange. And to look at the character designs, I don't know, maybe it's me, but the pair of them do have a bit of a classified vibe about them. You could totally see RC being a bit of tripwire reuse and stuff. I don't know, you tell me. Maybe I'm just letting my hopes get the better of me, But there has been talk of new characters. There's been talk about the silhouetted, cowboy-hatted, ponchoed character from the reveals being a new character. I speculated that I thought maybe it was a Wild Bill with some extra added value embellishments, but no, word is, I think coming from Diagnostic 80 over at the Full Force, that it's a new character. So, it's not out of the realms of possibility. There's been talk of new characters joining the line. It's not like they haven't done it before. We've had the Ghost Vipers, we've had Wolf Spider, Speaking of the mystery tease reveal, some have speculated, well, maybe, this is going to be the reveal that we'll get at this Midtown Comics event, that we'll find out who this silhouetted teaser character is. And who this new individual is. But is that interconnectivity? That's the thing, the choice to do it at a signing event around a comic book issue that the publisher Image have been making a fuss about, with something that's happening in the issue that's considered kind of fresh, new, and significant in terms of the introduction of 2 new characters. Makes me wonder whether it's not this silhouetted character and it's going to be something connected to the comic book. Or it is an existing character, one that we've seen before, but it's one that is, deeply connected to Larry Hama. He loves his ninjas. Maybe we're getting a new version of Storm Shadow. Or Dawn Morena, of course, which a lot of folks have been waiting for. as a comic book character, but they've been focusing very much on the Real American Hero vintage figure line and the Sunbow cartoon and DIC cartoon. The fact that it's at a Larry Hama signing makes me wonder if this is a signal to say, here's a comic book character that you've been waiting for. So maybe it is one of the 2 new characters they're introducing in classified form. Maybe it's the silhouette that's getting revealed. Maybe it's a classic comic book character that we would associate with Larry Hama, or just a random, next one in the queue. It's just another character. Here you go, folks. Who knows? Maybe Iceberg, who's been on the name-only list, or maybe the Chibang 2-pack that's heavily rumoured to be Ninja Force Scarlet going alongside him. But yeah, who knows? Let me know your speculation, hopes, dreams, and desires in the comments down below. And so there we go, folks. That's the news. You're up to date, or at least as of time of recording, which is, well, it's getting late over here in the UK, Friday night time. So who knows, maybe more stuff will happen over the weekend. I usually say, oh, it'd be all right, we'll see what happens next week. But then they did a set of reveals on a Sunday last weekend, so all the rules have been thrown out the window. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. How do you feel about the actual in-hand, in-box versions of the Ninja Force Zartan and the Royal Guard? Are they looking good? Are they meeting your expectations? Do you feel like the digital renders have come to life and up to the standard that you would expect and want and need from the line? What's your speculation around the Larry Hama signing and reveal? Are you in New York? Are you able to get down there? Are you heading along? Let me know. All that good stuff. But in the meantime, thanks for coming and hanging out. I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week. And swing back around for another video coming sometime soon. All right. Take it easy, folks.